Protector Symposium 4.0 is coming up October 1st through the 3rd in Florida. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for this event. We're going to do some amazing training, force on force. We're going to be running sims, UTMs. We're going to be range, running live fire. They're going to get like a really full spectrum experience, between gunfighting inside of and outside of a vehicle, which is ultra relevant because people see the tactical protection reviews, transitional spaces. This is where things happen. And then the integrated combatives, and being able to not just shoot on a range, but move and implement your weapon in, we call it like non-conventional firing platforms, or just, to the training community, it seems like these are it's a little bit more non-conventional, but the reality, when you really start studying violence and watching these videos that are out there of actual violence, I think some of the stuff you guys are teaching and being able to move and shoot and all that is really kind of what should be conventional training. But anyway,
I agree.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, if you look at statistics, right, and you look at where most gunfights happen, it should be more conventional, and that's why 17 years ago I started really paying a lot of attention to these ranges and started developing programs, because I saw, based on FBI statistics, where most, at least law enforcement shootings were happening, and there wasn't a lot of relevant training to those ranges. So it's all going to be trained. They're all important because you just never know how things are going to happen when it happens. But I think the distances that you just mentioned, what could be termed unconventional type movement and whatnot, should be a little bit more conventional based on how often these things happen.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like once you get your fundamentals down, then it's time to start mixing up your movement and your firing platform, and getting more fluid with your firearm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what are you going to be teaching and going into for this upcoming Protector Symposium 4.0? I can't wait.
What I'm going to be focusing on is an area that I guess you could say is a little bit more the area that I specialize in, the wheelhouse, because it's an area that there's a lot of good firearms instructors that are going to be teaching at the symposium, and there's a lot of good firearms instructors that are outside of the symposium. And there's a lot of good information that's going to be offered. And so I wanted to focus on something that is, something that I'm probably more known for in the circles that I teach in, which is that close quarter handgun combatives. Oftentimes, when I first started putting these programs together, I would call it force integration tactics, which is the interface of edge weapons, impact weapons, firearms at those extreme close quarters, basically 10 feet and in is essentially the distances, which is where 70% of law enforcement shootings happen, at least. Civilian shootings, we don't have as many statistics on the distances involved, but I'd venture to say it's going to be basically in the same area.
Outstanding. So 10 feet and in, close quarters combatives. What would you say are a few just kind of wickets or cliff notes about what that looks like, feels like, and things that people should look forward to?
Yeah, so the way that I like to kind of break this down, right, is based on my background in Filipino martial arts, which is, a lot of people know the Filipino martial arts for the blade aspect, the edge weapon, the knife fighting tactics, and it bleeds over to impact weapons, edged impact weapons. But I use that as kind of a foundation for the way I like to teach. So I like to, train in 3 ranges. The longer of those ranges being out to about 3 yards to 10, about 10 feet-ish. And then the closer of those ranges being at a clinch range. And so I like that. I call that the long and the close range, and then even a medium range, a transitional range, which is and hand positions with your firearm at these ranges are taking into consideration, okay, clinch range, I've got one hand on my gun primarily because my other hand is it's either involved in that clinch or it's trying to protect myself. If I'm using lethal force, I'm assuming that lethal force is being used against me. So my other hand is probably occupied trying to control a weapon, protect myself. And as I get out to further ranges, my positions have to be to consider weapon retention. I don't want to be putting my weapon in a position where my opponent, who also wants to survive, is going to be able to reach out and grab and control my weapon. And then at outer ranges, we're going to be looking at a little bit more mobility. And I kind of compare this to like counter ambush training, right? At a close quarter ambush, I'm fighting through the threat. At a longer range ambush, I'm looking to maneuver, get off the X, get my weapon out as quick as I can and start my counterattack, so shooting and moving. And so it's basically going to involve that, kind of in a nutshell. That's kind of the framework, and then there's a lot more obviously detail involved there.
Outstanding. What would you say to anyone who has like hesitancy to come and do this kind of training? Because I feel like people are a little averse towards like the more close quarter stuff, or they're worried about their firearm skills, or they're just worried to get out there and train. What would you say to people that are having those thoughts or sticking points, man?
You're gonna have fun. That's the first thing. So don't be intimidated by the topics or anything like that. Just come and have fun. And the way I like to teach, I know that for consistent training, people have got to have a positive experience, or that it's not going to be consistent. They're gonna like, oh, I didn't like that, I'm not going to do it again, right? So I like to try and make it a positive experience, so people they're more apt to come back and keep up their training. You can't get good at something without doing it over and over. And so enjoy it. Enjoy it. Have fun with it, and that way you can't get good at something you just don't practice. And so it's going to be fun. 2, it's practical. I mean, for self-defense ranges, self-defense training, if you're not training this type of stuff, if you look at, today we have the advantage of seeing a lot of security camera footage of actual shootings, and where I'm at right now as we speak, I'm in Brazil, where I've been teaching some courses, and a lot of these videos come out of Brazil.
Right out of Brazil.
And so that's why when I'm here, people like this training, is because it's real to the situations that they're seeing on a daily basis down here, and so all of the training is important, but don't neglect these ranges of training, because realistically, a lot of this happens. People will say, "Well, I've got a gun, I'll just shoot him." Well, understanding the dynamics of action versus reaction, right? If something happens quick and your weapon is not in your hand, I like to use the expression self-preservation comes before weapon presentation. So how do I survive that encounter long enough to get my gun in my hand and return fire? So I need to train these elements that can help me to survive that ambush, so that I can actually get to a position where I can get my weapon out, fight my way to my weapon, and start to bring that into the fight. So it's super important stuff. As far as the topic that I'm all the instructors here I've seen are teaching really relevant and important stuff at a top-notch, world-class level. So everything is going to be relevant. It's going to enhance. I have no doubt that it'll enhance the survivability of every individual that attends this training to a great degree. I mean, you're gonna see a huge a progressive curve in just the space of a few days.
Heck yeah, man! I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Wihongi has been teaching militaries, fighting forces, agencies for years and years. Comes highly recommended. He's legit as they get, and he teaches on one of the harder subject matters of personal protection, which is that in close, that clinch space, man. This is the Formula One of protection, which is why I think trainers like him are very rare. So you're gonna get 5 individuals like this in one event in the same place, October 1st through the 3rd, down in Florida. So don't miss it. It is literally like a once in a lifetime training opportunity to get the synergy of these guys all in one place. So it's an honor to bring it to you. I can't wait to host it and train with all you guys. And thanks so much, Jared. I'm looking forward to this, man. It's going to be good.
As am I. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.